Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another video. The other day we spoke about Dawn of Rebellion, the brand new Star Wars guidebook, and we covered the Bad Batch material, some new reveals for Omega, Crosshair, and today we return to the book with a focus on Andor, but also, as you're going to come to see, a very interesting point of speculation for Din Djarin from The Mandalorian. You're not going to want to miss this one. So we're going to talk about specific characters in just a moment, but I want to start with an updated galaxy map. There are a few interesting anomalies on this. They've omitted the location of Kenari, the Mid-Rim Forest planet, the secret homeworld of Cassian Andor, and the reason I say secret is because when the Andor couple adopted him and took him off that world, they wrote down on all documentation that he was from Fest. They also left out Aldhani and Narkina 5, but we do have a location for Ferrix, situated in the Outer Rim, next to Cantonica, which is where Canto Bight is, and Moraband, the homeworld of the Sith. It's also relatively close to Yavin. This brand new map of the galaxy also puts down a couple of new worlds from the Kenobi show, such as Jabiim, and they put it right next to Lothal. Just like in Legends, it's in the Outer Rim territories. Mapuzo, situated in the Mid-Rim, right next to Ord Mantell, the planet Sid lives on in the Bad Batch. They also confirmed that Morak, the planet from Chapter 15 of Mando Season 2, the planet Migs Mayfeld was left on, is right next to Bespin and Hoth. No surprise, located in the Hoth system. They also confirmed that Adelphi, from Mando Season 3, where we first saw Zeb Orrelios in live action, as well as Sorgan, from Mando Season 1, are remarkably close to one another. The Adelphi system has two bordering neighbours, the Naboo system and the Geonosis system. And here is another very fascinating reveal, with Thrawn and the Grey Mothers returning to Dathomir. They're right next door to Akvatina. I didn't realise how close Dathomir was to this world. That is where Din's parents are from, where he was rescued by the Death Watch. As we know, Night Sisters wear red, and it could just be a coincidence, along with their proximity, but so do Din's parents. Were the people of Akvatina some kind of Night Sister worshippers, a group adjacent to dark magic? But look, plenty of groups in Star Wars wear red, and it's far more likely that they're disciples of the Wills, Force worshippers. And another deliberate coincidence, one which we already knew about and is not new to this book, is how close Dathomir is to Mandalore. That is almost certainly going to come into play at some stage, crossovers in the Mandoverse between Ahsoka and Mando Season 4. So on to some of the characters from Andor. We learn that Syril Karn is 35 years old. This was not previously known. He was born on Coruscant, and well, we know all about his hectoring mother. They also give us a section about corporate interests, Morlana 1, and the Primor Authority, a private fleet maintaining order within the Morlana sector. But moving on to some more juicy reveals, let's talk about Luthen and his Axis network. We know very little about him. There were so many fan theories when Season 1 was airing. Is he a secret Force user? An ex-Jedi? Why does he possess a Kawati signet? Well, now they add to the mystery, saying, quote, Luthen's cover enterprise connects him to valuable rarities, such as the Skykyber signet. But they do emphasize, even those closest to him have no idea who he is. They say Rael remains an enigma, even to the few closest to him, adopting impenetrable guises that he fully inhabits. Luthen tasks himself to set in motion the downfall of the Empire, regardless of the personal compromises he must make, and compartmentalizes his life and mind to achieve his goals.
I burned my life!
So not even Vel, Cinta, or Kleya Marki know the truth about Luthen's backstory and who he really is. I'm kind of feeling like they're never going to give us a concrete answer. They might give us a couple of breadcrumbs and allude to it in Season 2, but I don't expect anything major. When Season 1 ended, I put out a theory stating that once upon a time, Kleya Marki might have been a handmaiden, an Amidala from Naboo, given her style of dress, the fact she possesses one of Padmé's headdresses. While this book does not confirm nor deny it, in the midst of the Andor section, when they're talking about rebel cells, they mention Amidalans and their importance as part of the rebel fight. This is what it says. Founded by former handmaiden Sabe, the Amidalans are a cell of fellow handmaidens and other loyal individuals with a very specific focus of uncovering the truth of Padmé Amidala's mysterious death. In their quest for answers and justice, The Amidalans also thwart other Imperial activities while maintaining a veil of secrecy. I would love for this theory to be true, which gives Kleya Marki her own personal motive. Take down Darth Vader. Sabe once noted, when Anakin mysteriously disappeared, Darth Vader showed up. They've started to connect the dots. And perhaps by 5BBY, Kleya's worked it out. Now I'm gonna skip the section about partisans because we've spoken on the channel so much about Saw Gerrera in the past, so instead, let's focus on the Aldani heist, specifically Karis Nemik. Not much is known about him. He lived a very short but meaningful life. His manifesto indirectly became one of the most important documents for the formation of the Rebel Alliance, organized and strategized hope. An anti-authoritarian, sometimes representing the more idealistic side of the rebels, and at times, naive. But what he left behind was so important to inspire Cassian, and while he was not outwardly martial, he was a political visionary, a brilliant astronavigator, and according to this guide, studied the theoretics of Kalumi and Give-In. The Kalumi were a sentient species taken from Star Wars legends. They studied physics, mechanics, and the art of war, and the Give-In were a species prolific in maths. They had the appearance of an animated skeleton, renowned for their genius. Studying these gave him the abilities to make calculations at rapid speeds, eager for new information and challenges. Now evidently a Star Wars textbook like this, Dawn of Rebellion, isn't going to go into political or economic theory, but many Star Wars fans have noted there are several real-world books and documents that influence Nemik's manifesto and philosophy. Reading into taking political action, I would say this is textbook anarchism, with some Karl Marx and a bit of Friedrich Engels thrown in, minus any reference to class, and because it's not real life, it's a galaxy far, far away, they left it pretty vague and open-ended, so you can apply many different philosophies to the message that's being delivered. Tony Gilroy certainly wrote it as if it's an academic, economic piece to study. He said on several occasions, the 2 seasons of Andor are heavily inspired by real-world revolutions. Now one thing this book does exceedingly well, and I spoke about this the other day in reference to the Delegation of 2000, is how they bridge the gap between Disney stuff and George Lucas' Star Wars, so it's all one story. There is so much poetry in the Andor section, obviously because it's going to connect to Rogue One, but also the original trilogy. And I just want to spend a little bit of time talking about one of my favourite examples. The fact that Cassian's story already has an end in Rogue One. But along with this comes some of the best foreshadowing. Did you know that Cassian's eventual sacrifice on Scarif is cleverly foreshadowed in the opening scene of the show? When Cassian goes to Molana 1 in search of his long-lost sister, he goes to a bar and the alien female bartender tells him, quote, "You pay at the end." A simple line subtly teases the dark fate eventually awaiting Cassian as the price he will pay not for the drink, but for becoming a rebel and fighting the Empire in their deadly new weapon, which again, ironically, he unknowingly helped to build. The symbolism in Andor Season 1 is so underrated. This has to be my favourite example. Share your thoughts on everything we spoke about in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, my dear friends, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. May the Force be with you, always.